topics that we will cover in this section. Firstly, we will check out what are functions and what are its syntax and properties of a function, how to define them. Proceeding, we will check out how to declare a function as expressions. Proceeding, we will check out what are the different types of function parameters, such as the required parameters and also the optional parameters. Well, in case of optional parameters, we have optional positional parameters, optional named parameters, and at last we have the default parameters. So these are the three subcategories of the optional parameters. So we are going to check all of these in the separate videos. So in this video, we will check out how to define functions in Dart, and in the next video, we will check out the demo code for defining functions in our editor. So make sure you watch these two videos to understand what are the syntax and properties of a function. So firstly, what is a function? Well, a function can be defined as the collection of statements grouped together to perform a specific operation. To understand it better, let us take an example. We are defining a function to find the area of a rectangle. So this is the function definition, then we have the function body, and then we have some code here. And make sure whenever we define a function in Dart, we use the curly bracket open and close. And within this, we define our function body. So let us break our function into smaller pieces. So on the left, if you notice, we have some return type. Well, the return type in Dart is optional. If you remove this integer, then also our program will run fine. But it is highly recommended to use this return type. And then we have the function name such as find area. Now this name is user defined. You can name it as per your wish. For example, find my area, find rectangles area, and so on and so forth. That is, in short, you can name it as per your choice. And then we have some parameters. Well, this time I am calling it the required parameters. Now why I am calling it required parameters, I will let you know shortly. So as a parameter, you can pass as many parameters you want to. Such as here we have two parameters, length and breadth. Now within the method body, we are writing some code such as return the area of the rectangle, that is length into breadth. So the length is coming from here and the breadth is coming from here. Once we find the area of the rectangle, we are returning the value from where this function has been called. Now since the length and breadth will actually give us the result as integer, so that is why we have here the return type as integer. Now suppose from the function we are not returning anything. So in that case, we can define our function like this. That is, instead of integer, we can write here void. Now void in Dart means we are not returning anything from our method body. So here this is our return type, which is again optional. If you remove this void, then also our code will work fine, but it is highly recommended to use such return type. Now within the method body, we are simply printing out the length and breadth, that is the area of the rectangle. Since we are not returning anything, so that is why we have the return type as void here, like this. Now since Dart is from Google, so Google always like perfection. So Google has actually incorporated many new features in case of function. Now in Dart, just remember everything is an object, so as the function. So the functions in Dart are objects. Now what does this statement means? You will get to know shortly in our upcoming videos. But right now, just remember function in Dart are objects, which actually means that the function can be assigned to a variable, that is a variable in Dart can store even functions. And also you can pass the function as a parameter to some other function. For example, here we are passing the length and breadth as a parameter. So instead of these two data types, we can even pass the function as a parameter here. It is allowed in Dart. Well, don't worry about it right now. We will check the live example in the upcoming videos. Now proceeding, the next property is that all the functions in Dart returns some value. And in case if there is no return value or there is no return statement, then the function by default returns null. Let us take some example down below. So here we have two examples on the left and on the right. So on the left, if you notice, we don't have any return type here. We have just defined our function, the parameters, and in the body we are not returning anything. So when the return statement is missing, then the function in Dart simply returns null, like this. Just remember that. Now similarly on the right hand side, here we have the return type as integer, but from the method body we are not returning anything. So when we don't have any return statement, it again returns null as the return statement is missing. Well, practically the left hand side and the right hand side are same, but the recommended convention is the right one. Always mention the return type here. Now moving on, next property. Specifying the return type is optional but is recommended as per the code convention. So for that, let us take another example down below. So here on the left and on the right we have two examples. Practically in Dart both are correct, but the most recommended one is the left one because we have mentioned the return type here. Void find area, then our method body. But on the right we don't have any return type, but as per convention follow the left hand side. That is, always mention the return type here like this. Perfect. Well, again, this was a beginner video, so I have covered the basic properties of functions in Dart. For the advanced properties of the function, please make sure you check out my upcoming videos. Now in the next